Good morning, everybody, afternoon, or evening, or whenever you happen to be watching this. The Gimme Mommy 8 here, and I have another tutorial for you because something I've kind of wanted to be able to do in some of the thumbnails that I've been thinking about for um, even the couple of tutorials I've already made and some future videos that I'm thinking of making. I want to be able to do a starburst pattern, which you may be able to see. Well, you probably did see. I used some unconventional colors for the thumbnail that I did today. So, just because those are the kind of my colors, but I want to be able to people do that with like greens and yellows and sometimes like a yellow orange mix, and it definitely draws the eye. It's something that I think looks really good on a YouTube thumbnail. So here I am in GIMP, which is a completely free program you can download on the internet. I will put a link in the video description down below. Should the platform you're watching this support that, and yeah, not very hard. If I can't provide a link for you, search GIMP on Google or something about the first thing that pops up. So, first things first, you want to keep in mind the fact that when you do this, your image is going to shrink down. So you want to make it, if you want it to be a whole background for like a 1080 picture, you're going to want to make an outrageously large sunburst pattern that you can port over, that you can take over to that 1920 by 1080 image. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna do a new one. We're gonna go 1920 by 1080, and this is gonna be where my background is black. Okay, this is gonna be where our thumbnail is going to be created. Okay, so we're going to create another one. I'm just going to go outrageous with, and I'm going to go 3000. And the reason that I'm doing this is because, can you make it in this one? Yes. The problem is, like I said, it's going to get shrunk down when you make it into that starburst pattern, and then if you resize it, you end up with an obviously resized image with your diagonal lines that look like they were made in paint, to be quite honest with you. We want it to be smoother than that. So we're going to come over here. I'm going to pick a background color, call it background. And let's see, the traditional is what, like in yellows and oranges, right? So we'll do an orangey color here, the background. I'm just going to pick my my paint bucket, my fill tool here. Keyboard shortcut is Shift B for the bucket there. Okay, and then we're going to do kind of a lighter shade of that for this up. There we go. A lighter shade of that for the other color that we're going to. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go up here to filter. I'm going to go render. There used to be in, I think it was the distorts page, there used to be a blinds effect that I can't find anymore. But so my workaround for that is I go to render, I go to pattern, I go to grid. I'm going to unlock these guys, and I'm going to bring my line height all the way down to 0, and I'm going to stretch out my line width. Now these here, go ahead and make that a little bit thicker, and then bring our line width out until it kind of makes sense here. And if you don't want to keep dragging, you can click these arrows so they're about the same. Okay, then I'm going to click OK. Now I'm going to take this same image and I'm going to apply a second filter. We're going to go to distorts, and then we're going to go polar coordinates. see how it automatically does this sunburst image. But again, you see how it kind of, like, if you wanted it to take up this whole thing, you would have to stretch it out because now it's a circle and the corners are not covered. Which is why we made it outrageously large, so it would hopefully fit over this guy over here. So I'm going to leave all these presets the way that they are. I do want to point out that when you do this, you kind of want to try and make sure when you're making these lines that you have one color on this edge and a separate color on this edge. Because if you don't, you'll end up with, like I had here for my, let's see, YouTube video thumbnails sunburst pattern. And I didn't fix it because it's not a huge deal. I should have rotated it more this way so that you wouldn't see it. But as you can see right here, we zoom in there, you end up with this teeny tiny little guy, which we're trying to avoid here. So, distorts, polar coordinates, and up top here, because you had two opposite colors next to each other, it looks just fine. Although, if you're being really super omega picky with it, you will see that there's this teeny tiny little line here of translucent image. If you really, really want to fix it, make a background, a background here, drag it underneath. I want to let you drag it, just use the arrows down here, and just fill in the background. Boom, can't see it anymore. Super easy. It's hardly worth doing anything about most of the time, though. So, let's go ahead. Like I said, that was only like 1 or 2 pixels, right? Oh, we'll go 25%. There we go. So, now we've got this pattern. I'm going to hit Control A on my keyboard to select all. Now you have the little marching ants all the way around this. I'm going to hit Copy, Control C, or you could go here, Copy. We're going to go over to this image, Control V, paste. Oops. Sorry, let's merge these down. So merge with the layer underneath, so that it's all one image. Sorry, I was only copying one image. So, copy, paste. Now you have a nice starburst image that fits your whole image here, right? And you don't have to stretch it out and end up with weird straight lines that look like they were made in paint. It's very smooth. Now, you can also, like I had mine centered way over here, so it's a large enough image, you can kind of move it around some, right? I kind of liked it in the middle. Now, the one thing that I do to kind of make this look a little bit nicer, and you don't have to, but I definitely think that it adds to the image a little bit. You can take either a white or a black, depending on the look that you're going for, and use a gradient tool. So that would be G on your keyboard, or you can find it here under Tools, Paint Tools, Gradient, right? Because it's in like this toolbox, and I forget how to pull up the toolbox, but anyway. So I'm going to make sure this is set to foreground to transparent, which it is. And I'm going to have the shape set to radial. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take kind of from the center here. I don't want to make it too big because that darkens the whole thing. It really depends on if you're going for a long tunnel look. That's the way to do it. But I just want a very subtle little dark point in the middle there. That might even be a little bit too, you know, and you don't have to do it with black. You could potentially do it with, let's do that. If you want something a little bit more subtle, you could choose like a gray color. Kind of, I mean, I think it looks better with, but yeah, so there you go. like I say, I like the black better. I think it makes it look a little bit more finished just to have that little point in there. And sometimes it doesn't even matter because you're gonna hide it behind something. You're gonna hide this point behind something. So who cares? Of course, let's go ahead and make a new layer. So that's this whole pasted bit is actually on something, and this background isn't even needed anymore. Here, excuse me, just get rid of that. This actually kind of becomes your background. Usually, for your sunburst, you might put something, you know, maybe this is a smaller bit of your image, and it's only going to be in this corner or something. I don't know. Do whatever you want to do. My other suggestion is because this is such a huge image that you put over the top of this, I'm going to come over here, I'm going to right click and go down to, where did it go? Layer to image size. So now if you move it around, it's only as big as the image is. And that way you can cut down on the size of your image, like the amount of space that it takes up on your hard drive. It doesn't have all that extra stuff that it's keeping. So then you just you're in GIMP. So if you save it, it's gonna be more of a template. You can do that if you'd like. Otherwise, just export it as you normally would. So Sunburst background. I'm gonna say yellow, orange. Export. Export. The other thing you can do that I've seen some people do, you can see I was trying to remember what it was called here, that I've seen some people do is they will go to like Google and search, say, dirty lens, go to images, right? So you can take some of the aren't the best. You can take, or maybe like a concrete might. Yeah, something like this. They see if you take this guy here and you say, let's see, go copy. I'm not even gonna save it. Layer, okay. I'm gonna paste it. I'm gonna resize it. What is that? Shift S? No. Normal S? Alright. Tools. Transform. Scale. Yeah, Shift S. I don't know. Whatever. Here, and just going to scale it so it covers the whole thing. Layer to image size. I'm going to anchor that down to the background. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my filter. I'm going to go to, or is it a filter? No, down to colors and saturation. And I'm going to bring this saturation all the way down. The hue doesn't matter so much, doesn't really gray image. I'm going to say okay. And then I'm going to the opacity, start messing with that. And as you can see, it gives it kind of a texture to the whole thing. So, colors, brightness, and contrast. Mess with the. Oops. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Who said to mess with that? Brightness and contrast. Brightness, brightness, darker. yeah, so you can just add a little bit of like a texture to it that way. So really depends on what you're looking for. You can do some really interesting stuff with this. So that was my quick and dirty kind of how to do a sunset background, or a sunburst background for your images. Hope you guys appreciated it. Love your faces, everybody. And I hope to see you around. Don't forget to click on the links down below. GIMP will be down there, but also my personal stuff. This is going to be on YouTube, Library, BitChute. I just found Odyssey, which is apparently powered by Library. So whatever I upload on Library apparently is on Odyssey too, which I guess is another YouTube alternative. I stream on Twitch, mostly video game stuff, but every now and again I do a cooking thing. So I hope to see you guys around. Love your faces, everybody. Bye-bye.